Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Jew Godfather back at it again, and welcome to another episode of the Kosher Nostra podcast. Okay, so last episode we talked about Nazis who escaped to Australia, and we talked about Charles Zente. Now we're going to be deviating from what I originally said we were going to be doing. We're not going to be talking about America who let in other Nazis, and we're not going to be talking about other Nazis who escaped to South America. We're going to be discussing Nazis who remained in their so-called fatherland. Okay? Also, I want to apologize for the delay of this episode. I had some things to attend to. And as always, my sources will be in the description below. So, anyway, let's get on to it, shall we? Okay, so we're going to be talking about Nazis who remained in Germany after World War II. Oh, by the way, there will be visuals in this, so if you want to check out the YouTube version, it's in the description below on Spotify, so you can be able to see those visuals. Also, be sure to follow my Twitter page at JewGodfather, and also be able to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so now, after World War II, the so-called denazification process was underway. The part of the denazification process was exposing Nazi crimes through the trials which occurred after World War II and put Nazis and Nazi collaborators before the courts of the Allied powers. There were 8.5 million members of the Nazi Party and many millions more who were affiliated with Nazi organizations. Most of the Nazis who were put on trial were senior Nazi officials and not as much as low-level Nazis. Also, the Cold War caused people to no longer be interested in avenging the victims of the Shoah by putting these war criminals on trial. Many Nazis would escape justice by fleeing to other countries. Some would remain in Germany, though, under false names till they died, never facing justice for their crimes, like SS General Fritz Katzmann, who was known for his 1943 Katzmann Report that detailed the murder of 434,000 Jews and would later die in 1957, never facing justice for his crimes. Also, some Nazis would only get short prison sentences and be released back into society of Germany, which goes into the Nazi we will be talking about, who remained there in her so-called fucking fatherland. Okay, so German doctor Herta Oberhauser was a physician at the Ravensbrück concentration camp, which was constructed in 1938 and liberated by the Soviets in 1945. During the 1946 doctor's trial at Nuremberg, it was revealed that Herta Oberhauser, during her time at Ravensbrück, performed sulfonamide experiments, bone, muscle, and nerve regeneration and bone transplantation experiments on humans, as well as sterilizing prisoners there. She was sentenced to 20 years in prison on August 20th, 1947. I actually have the footage and audio of her sentence, which I will play for you all right now.
Herta Oberhauser, Military Tribunal 1 has found and adjudged you guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity as charged under the indictment heretofore filed against you. For your said crimes on which you have been and now stand convicted, Military Tribunal 1 sentences you, Herta Oberhauser, to imprisonment for a term of 20 years to be served at such prison or prisons or other appropriate place of confinement as shall be determined by competent authority. The officer of the guard will remove the defendant, Herta Oberhauser.
Despite the sentence of 20 years in 1947 at the doctor's trial, she was actually released a few years later in 1952 for quote-unquote good conduct and even given a financial grant. Once she was free, she established a medical practice as a pediatrician in Holstein, Germany. She continued to practice medicine and was supported by the West German government until critical journals exposed her crimes during World War II, which in 1960 caused her medical license to be revoked. She later died in a nursing home in 1978, still in West Germany. She was able to live a full and comfortable life, unlike the many victims who suffered and were murdered at her hand. Son of a Okay, so we learned about Herta Oberhauser, who was a Nazi physician at Ravensbrück concentration camp, which was mostly a women's camp and was also known as the Forgotten concentration camp. And we also learned about how she still lived in Germany after the war, and she died there, never facing justice for her crimes. And okay, so next week as soon as possible, we'll be talking about Nazis who escaped to France, and then we'll be commemorating Israel on its hunt for Nazis. Anyway, I hope you all have a great night. Sei gesund.